Mismor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, Binot sheyar bitzeni, Al me menuchot yanachaleni, Nafshi yishovev, Yanacheni v'maglet tzedek lema'an shemo. Gam ki helech begates al mavet, lo irara ki ata imadi. Shiftecha umishantecha hemayanachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged tzurirai dishanta vashemen roshi kosirivaya ach tov chesed yirdifuni koyam echayai v'shaviti b'veit Adonai le'orech yamim. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. At these difficult times, when we are feeling in need of comfort and consolation, we often turn to the psalmist. And so at this time I ask you to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. And when we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him. And when we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember him. So long as we live, he too will live, for he is now a part of us, as we remember Leonard Simon. To you, Estelle, to your children, Susan and Dan, also to Merrill, and to the grandchildren, Matthew, Aaron, Julie, Lisa, also to John, to his sister Jackie, his brother-in-law Philip, his sister-in-law Nancy, to all the members of the family and cherished friends. We have gathered together today to remember, but also to celebrate the life of your beloved Lenny. Our sages in their wisdom have taught us that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back, we pray, to health again, from offense to forgiveness and from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, and from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Lenny's journey began here in Cleveland. He was born on June 28, 1928, to Morris and Ann Simon. And Len, along with his younger sister Jackie, grew up on 139th Street in the Kinsman neighborhood. His mother was a homemaker, and his father a butcher. When Lenny was an 8th grade student at Alexander Hamilton Junior High School, he happened to meet a classmate of his, Estelle Sarbin. Their first meeting, however, did not occur at the school. You see, one of Lenny's best friends, a young boy named Irving Heller, he lived in the same two-family house as did Estelle on 142nd Street. Estelle, you remembered that you were walking down the street one day. You noticed that your neighbor and your classmate, Irving, he was outside playing baseball in the street with a buddy of his. It was Lenny. And as Len was chasing a baseball, you commented to this young teenage boy. You said, "There's the ball." And he responded, "I see it." This was quite a romantic first encounter. But it seems that following this casual moment, Irving Heller went up to his friend and he said to Lenny Simon, "You better get to know that cute girl." And he did. Your friendship, Estelle, had blossomed into young love, and you and Len discovered that you were born in the same hospital just 18 days apart. Your mother's hospital stays, both of your moms, they overlapped. And sometimes the young Lenny would tease you that every so often your baby diapers and his baby diapers were washed in the same hospital washing machine at the same time. While in high school, Lenny appeared in a production of Arsenic and Old Lace, so we know that he was outgoing. And throughout his junior high and high school years, his outgoing attitude merited him many good friends. He surrounded himself with good people, but no one was more special to him than you, Estelle. He would often call you Stella, and the two of you were, for one another, you were sweethearts from the age of 13. Following his graduation from John Adams in 1946, Lenny matriculated to Western Reserve University. He'd been there just a year and a half when his father became quite ill, and his mom instructed him that he needed to come home. He needed to leave school and run the family store, his father's fish and chicken shop. This was located at 79th and Kinsman. Now in 1947, Estelle, you and Lenny, you became engaged. This was on November 7th, 1948. That following year, you were married. You were married at the Temple on the Heights by Rabbi Rudolph Rosenthal. And in your over 68 years of marriage and, Estelle, a friendship, a love affair that has sustained for more than 75 years, the two of you journeyed together. You journeyed together through some of life's challenges and through so many of life's joys. Some of your favorite things to do included your road trips. You loved to get in the car and drive. There was the wine country in Virginia, and Len's interest in Native American culture led you to a drive where you found the Mohawk River, visits to Thomas Jefferson's home, and multiple visits to Florida. There was the cross-country trip that you and Len and another couple took in an RV. You journeyed across our country, visiting Arizona and New Mexico. And together the two of you enjoyed a month-long stay in Italy and a very special trip to the land of Israel. But for your beloved Lenny, his life was all about you and your children. This was his world. He was a man who led by example, and he showed his children, Susan and Dan, what it meant to have a strong and good work ethic. Your husband, your father, He was able to demonstrate to all of you that it was not only important to work hard, but it was just as important to play hard. Family was everything to Lenny, and providing a good life for his family was also of the greatest importance. In 1974, Lenny and Estelle began Farmhouse Foods on 89th and Woodland, the company that would grow into the multi-decade family business that it still is today. With his likable, warm, and winning personality, Lenny and Estelle's business grew and flourished. Estelle, he was your partner in business, your partner in life, and it's because of his charisma that he was a man who not only loved people, but his welcoming ways, his qualities, caused people to truly love him. You and Len retired in 1996. You decided to spend your winters in Sunrise, Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area. And you and Lenny and the whole family spent your summers at the house on Catawba Island, where Len loved boating and fishing, gardening and grilling. He found joy in simple pleasures such as roasting marshmallows or feeding those ducks, the ducks that learned to love Leonard as well, as they would tap on the door or the window to let him know when they were hungry. As his daughter-in-law Meryl shared with me, she said that everything he did, he gave his all. Meryl, you said he gave 110%, and he taught all of you to do the same. And with you, Estelle, Len always gave 110%. You knew how much he loved you and adored you, and he in return, he also knew your love and adoration as well. In mentioning the house on Catawba Island, I must also mention Len's sister, Jackie. I know that you and your family spent summers at Catawba in the house next to the Simons. There was a sign, I'm told, that stated something like, "This is them, that is us," so people knew which house to go to. Jackie, as a little girl growing up in Cleveland, you spent a lot of time with your big brother and with the young lady who would later on become your sister-in-law. When Lenny and Estelle were just maybe 13 or 14 years old, you were 9. You were, more often than not, you said, tag-along, in a way. And you described yourself probably as a bit of a nuisance to your older brother and his girlfriend. But as you and your brother grew into adulthood, a different bond developed, and you and your families always remained close. Jackie, you said to me that next to my mate and children, you said Lenny was the love of my life. And these are sweet words from a sister about her brother. Susan, you saw your father as a kind man, a man who loved everyone. You said he loved nature and animals, especially dogs. And somewhere in his heart, that big heart of his, he found a way to even love the groundhog that was constantly disturbing his garden. You saw a bond that he developed with your sons as they came into the family business. And Susan, you saw how important family was to your dad, whether it was him enjoying time with the Cousins Club or those quieter moments, Susan, just spent with you or with Dan or with his grandchildren. And Dan, you knew him to be a good dad. He was your little league coach. But when you were fresh out of college, he became a different kind of coach in a much different way. You went into business with your parents, and you were able to develop a whole new relationship with your father. Father and son, business partners. Dan, when we spoke yesterday, you noted how much people liked him, whether they were the clients or customers or even your own friends, Dan. They all admired your dad and they looked up to him in one way or another. And you said that it was his personality, his charm, and his business smarts that taught you how to run a business as well. Even after his retirement, and he was in the business with your mom for 40 years, even after that, you said that customers from all walks of life, they would always come up to you and they'd ask about him, and they'd inquire how is he doing and what was he up to. And it really sunk in how important he was to so many people. But most importantly, Dan, you noted that the way that your father had in uniting and reuniting family from near and far, you found this to be quite special and remarkable. You knew that family and the friends that he counted as family, you know that these were the most important things in the world to him. We're taught by our sages that words which come from the heart enter directly to the heart. His 4 grandchildren have written some words from their hearts that they've asked me to read and share with you at this time. The grandchildren wrote the following. When we think about growing up at Catawba, Papa is in every thought. He taught us many life lessons, some of which have been retained. Others are simply fond memories, such as gardening, fishing, roasting marshmallows, and being allowed to drive a golf cart at the age of 8, as long as you can convince him to take you and sit on his lap to reach the pedals. Speaking of golf carts, when Matthew and Aaron were little, they took the said golf cart and drove it into the marsh. They came home and, without confessing what happened, said, "Papa, do you have a car jack?" Needless to say, Papa did not give them the jack, but instead came to the rescue, pulled the golf cart out of the marsh with his car, and laughed about it ever since. That's a lesson we all learn from him. Stay positive, remember the good times, and when in doubt, a good huchikala. Everybody knows that word. He said, when in doubt, a good huchikala does the trick. Thank you for the coaching on that word. These are beautiful memories from beautiful children. The poet Ralph Waldo Emerson shares with us on what it means to have been successful, to have lived a life of success. And I share these words with you at this time. Emerson writes, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden path, or a redeemed social condition. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded." I believe that Lenny succeeded. And as we join together in a moment of silence, we say, Zichron Livrach, that the memory of Leonard Simon, may it always be with you and there for you as you remember him as a blessing. Amen. As you are able, I invite you to rise now for the memorial prayer, the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, shochen במרומים, עומסי מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, במלאות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מסעירים, את נשמת Label Alter ben Moshe v'Chanya, שהלך לעולמו בגן עדן תחי מנוחתו. אנא בהרחמים אסתירהו, בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Leonard Simon, who will be remembered in the household of Israel by the Hebrew name of Label Alter ben Moshe v'Chanya. To Lenny, who has gone now to his eternal home, may his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that his memory inspires all of us to noble and consecrated living. Amen. Please be seated. Friends, just a couple brief announcements. We will process now to the Zion Memorial Park Cemetery, and following the interment, the family will receive friends at the residence of Dan and Merrill Simon, located at 19 1-800-19800, Fairmount Boulevard in Shaker Heights. Visitation will be until 8 p.m. this evening and also tomorrow from 5 until 8 p.m. Anyone wishing to make a contribution in memory of Lenny, the family has suggested that you might consider the Ohio Humane Association or the NCJW, the National Council of Jewish Women of Cleveland. On behalf of the entire family, we thank you for your love and for your support on this important day.